Today, we're taking a look at Russia's Venezuelan air shield. Welcome to the Global WarWatch Network. If you're looking for clear, fact-based security analysis, you've definitely come to the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you these explainers. All right, let's get right into it. A new reality is taking shape, and it's happening right in the Western Hemisphere. Russian air defenses are now active in Venezuela, and Moscow's military advisors are on the ground making sure they work. Believe me, this is not just a simple arms sale. It's a huge strategic play with some major implications. And that brings us to the absolute core of this entire situation. With tensions as high as they are, the most critical question is this: who has their finger on the trigger? Is it the Venezuelan military? Or are Russian specialists actually calling the shots? The answer? Well, it changes everything. So, to really understand what's at stake here, we first need to look at the hardware. With a lot of help from Russia, Venezuela has built up a really formidable, multi-layered air defense network. Let's break down what that shield actually looks like. Now, this is not about one single weapon. It's about how all these systems work together. Think of it like layers. At the lowest altitude, you've got the Igla-S. Then, moving up, you have the short-range Pantsir S-1, the medium-range Buk M2, and then the big one, the long-range S-300 VM. Together, they create this incredibly dense web that's designed to make life very, very difficult for any kind of air operation, whether we're talking about drones or advanced fighter jets. The real game changer here is the Pantsir S-1. It's the newest piece of this puzzle, and it's specifically built to take on modern threats, things like drones, cruise missiles, and low-flying aircraft. Its job is to protect critical targets, and maybe even more importantly, to act as a bodyguard for the larger, long-range systems like that S-300. And you can't underestimate the sheer numbers at the ground level. Venezuela has a massive stockpile. We're talking around 5,000 Russian-made Igla-S shoulder-fired missiles. This means their ground forces have a very real, very widespread ability to challenge any helicopter or low-flying plane, making the entire territory that much more dangerous to fly over. So all this advanced hardware is one thing, but it's pretty much useless without skilled people to operate it. And this brings us right back to that central question of control. Figuring out who is actually running these systems is the key to understanding this entire geopolitical standoff. In military speak, what we're talking about is something called Independent Operational Control, or IOC. Now, this isn't just about learning which button to press. It means a country's own forces can operate, maintain, and logistically support these incredibly complex systems all by themselves. And getting to that level of mastery, that can take months of really intensive training. So, how do we solve this mystery? Well, intelligence analysts aren't just guessing. They are tracking very specific clues. Let's take a look at the key indicators they're watching to figure out who really holds the controls. First up, the hard numbers. We know there are more than 120 Russian military personnel on the ground in Venezuela right now. This is not a small team, okay? It's a significant advisory mission, apparently led by a senior Russian general, and they're tasked with one main goal: getting these systems ready for a fight as quickly as possible. And their to-do list is pretty extensive. They're providing hands-on instruction in how to operate the systems, they're helping integrate them into Venezuela's command structure, and they're teaching the technical maintenance needed to keep everything running. Bottom line, their mission is to speed up readiness and make sure all this new gear actually works together. So analysts are basically tracking this by focusing on three main categories. First, they're watching the Russian mission itself. Are they staying, leaving, rotating out? Second, they're looking for any sign of Venezuelan operational mastery. Are their crews showing they can do it on their own? And third, they are hunting for hard, observable evidence. And this is what observable evidence actually means in practice. Analysts are poring over official statements from both Moscow and Caracas. They're tracking Russian transport planes. Are they bringing people in or flying them home? And of course, they are closely scrutinizing satellite images of the air defense sites, looking for any changes in activity. So now we get to the big picture. Why does this all matter so much? Well, the presence of these systems, and especially the question of who controls them, has enormous strategic consequences for Caracas, for Moscow, and you guessed it, for Washington. I mean, just look at the mutual benefits here. For Caracas, it's a huge practical boost to their ability to deter an attack, and it's a powerful political signal of Russian support. For Moscow, it gives them a significant military presence in the Western Hemisphere, it ramps up their strategic influence, and it embeds their equipment and their interests deep inside the region. It's a win-win for them. and that leads directly to the view from Washington. Any direct involvement of Russian personnel in actually operating these systems crosses a major line. It would solidify Moscow's military foothold right in America's backyard, a development that U.S. officials have warned against time and time again, and you can bet they are watching this with extreme focus. So what this really all boils down to is that the dynamic between the U.S. and Venezuela, well, it's not a simple two-way street anymore. It is now a three-player game, and it has been fundamentally changed by the presence and the strategic goals of Moscow. Russia's involvement just dramatically raises the cost and the complexity of any potential military action. And that leaves us with one final, critical question to think about. With Russia's military and strategic influence becoming so deeply embedded in the country, has Venezuela effectively become a new tripwire in the escalating competition between global powers?
Thank you for your time today. If you found this analysis valuable, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the Global WarWatch Network. We really want to hear what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comment section below and come join our community on social media. All the links for that are in the description. We'll see you next time.